And now, live in studio, offering you a fresh perspective, an unbiased perspective, different from those disconnected talking heads in the media. He's an author, a coach, a real estate and finance expert, and he's committed to teaching you how to win in any marketplace. Your host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, Brandon Rives.
All right, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media, providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, and so much more. We're going to touch on some current events here happening in the Tampa Bay market as well. And we got our NBA All-Star Kevin Durant selling his Lux Miami condo. We're going to touch on that and more from our experts in studio. And we've got, first up, is going to be Mark Spence back in studio, repeat offender. Mark Spence, he's the VP of Integrity Financial Services. Welcome back, Mark.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. I'm excited to be here. We got a lot of great things to talk about in regards to interest rates and loan terms these days for mortgages.
Absolutely. And also back in studio as well, we got Jason Salmon. He's our expert buyer representative for the real estate company, as well as a VP of marketing with Crush Craft Marketing. Welcome back.
Thanks, Brandon. Always a pleasure. Today we got another segment of Ask the Real Estate Quarterback, as well as some other news in the real estate and business world.
Excellent.
And now I know for sure I just added 2 more guys to my wolf pack.
And so, as well, I'm very happy to announce as well, we've got a new credit expert, a partner here in studio as well, William Crawley. Very happy to have him in studio as well, National Credit Restoration Assistance. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Hey, this is my first time, but I'm just as excited as everybody else. I'll be talking about a couple of things today. One is credit repair versus National Credit Restoration Assistance and the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Very pertinent information there, guys. As a listener out there, we want to educate, we want to entertain, but most importantly, we want to engage you and help you live a better life when it's relating to these different types. And that's what makes this show different, is that we're not just disconnected talking heads regurgitating some opinion like you see all over the TV shows these days, and or hitting these loud buzzers and bye. We're giving you great advice. We're giving you some free offers that you're going to hear as well from the Real Estate Quarterback Show. And ultimately, our goal is to help our consumers win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
So let's go ahead and get some shots out as well. We've got some really cool strategic partners out there. Warwick Dunn Charities. He's got a big golf tournament coming up in Atlanta, Georgia, and he helps with single-parent housing in conjunction with Habitat for Humanity. And we've been a longtime partner and sponsor with Warwick Dunn Charities. Shots out.
Warwick Dunn. Warwick spins to the 10. He's to the 5, 4, 2, touchdown.
And most importantly, we want to make sure you have a way to engage us. So realestateradiotampa.com, you can submit the form. My promise to you is that I'm going to get back to you before my head hits the pillow. But I want you to pull out your smartphone and save this number in your phone, because at some point you're going to need it. Again, we've got over 45 different show partners ranging from CPAs, financial advisors, credit experts, solar companies, all types of home services, inspection as well. So I want you to pull out your smartphone and save this number in your phone. It's 813-917-1894. Save that number in your phone, because at some point you're going to need it. You're going to get something attached to your, come in the mail to the mailbox, maybe dropped off at the front door, or maybe a family member may have something come up. And what we want to do is we want to be a non-commission-based advice show here, a consumer advocate. We're Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate. And ultimately, there's a lot of bad information floating around out there. And that's what the goal of this show is. We want to help cut through all that nonsense that you see in the mainstream media. They're more worried about sensationalisms, the latest car wreck and the robberies, or even the silly, Kardashians. How does that help you live a better life, okay? That's what this show is going to do, and we're going to help you live that better life. And let's start it off. Let's go ahead and kick it off here. I got Mark Spence. He's our platinum sponsor, VP of Integrity Financial Services, back in studio. So what say you, Mark?
Hey, man, I tell you, it's an exciting time right now in the mortgage business. So many opportunities for buyers, first-time home buyers, to get into the opportunity of buying a home and taking that leap of, taking the biggest investment they'll probably ever do in their life, and also be able to start, building equity and building wealth. Interest rates are at all-time lows still. You have buying power today where you wouldn't have it and you won't have it in the future when interest rates really start to go up a little bit.
Great point. Yeah, I was talking to a potential buyer this week, and I always try to take that extra time when I'm on the phone, and I want to try to educate people when I'm talking to them. But the person I was talking to, they were saying, "Well, I might just wait. I might just rent for 6 more months." And I said, here's why you might not want to do that. We've got the Federal Reserve, the quantitative easing, all that process is ended. You've got the short-term lending rates from the banks, the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, they're poised to raise that at some point here. And so ultimately, I explained to them, I can't remember the price point exactly, the conversation, how it went. But, ultimately what could happen is, let's say you can get a 3.9, a 4.2. Again, I'm not going to quote a certain APR. I don't want the credit police coming after me here. But let's say you could get a 3.9% on a 30-year fixed mortgage, which is relevant. It's realistic, right?
Very true, yeah. So
you, as a homeowner, you could buy maybe a $150,000 house given your debt-to-income ratios, your income. Now, if those rates increase to 6.5%, 7%, like they might, like they very well could, now you're looking at an $80,000 house.
Yeah, it's a $60,000 change in purchase price range. So that's a huge difference in regards to what people can afford. Interest rates, when they go up, it just changes everything as far as debt-to-income ratio requirements. And honestly, as rates go up, things get a lot tighter, too, because they know they have to be. Because rates are at those certain levels where they know delinquencies can immediately start to happen quickly.
Yeah, and here's an article from the Florida Realtor Association, mortgage credit conditions best in years. The Mortgage Credit Availability Index, 121.4 as of last month. This means that credit conditions in real estate financed loosened compared to February and have also improved since March, when the MCAI was at 114. So pretty interesting there as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think you really are seeing today is when people apply for a mortgage, they really do have good credit. The credit, in essence, today is not like it was in the past where you had to have certain credit scores or you just didn't have any options. There's a lot of products and programs out there for really almost every type of buyer. Even if you had a bankruptcy, you had a foreclosure, we have Fresh Start programs, people that are fresh out of bankruptcy. I mean, those are new programs that have not been around for less than 12 months. So those are a lot of opportunities that people don't know about. First-time home buyer programs, not going government with FHA, you can do 3% down. First-time home buyer really is just someone that hasn't owned a house in the last 3 years, not a true first-time home buyer.
Right.
So people that had issues and went through credit issues in 2008 and 9 and now are back up ready to go, they all qualify for that first-time home buyer program again.
Save some money. Reach out to Mark Spence, Integrity Financial Services, and Tony Paredes over there as well with Integrity Financial. Yeah, it's a great point that you're bringing up there when you talk about, I think a lot of times we get complacent in our positioning, and ultimately we want to help our listeners live a better life, leave a better legacy for their family. And what better way to do that than home ownership? And as you kind of alluded to, Mark, you've got the veteran loans. I mean, man, I had a speech this week. I did a presentation at a group, and one of the ladies in the room, she didn't realize that the VA, she just didn't know the facts. And I started talking about it. I was like, oh, yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, I mean, VA, I say one thing's for sure. The government got one thing right when it came to veterans, and it was doing VA mortgages. There's no doubt that VA mortgages are the best product out there. If you're a veteran and you haven't taken advantage of your VA eligibility, you're really missing out. Interest rates are lower than every product out there for veterans. There's 100% financing. No other product's 100% financing.
Right.
You can get, your VA funding fee waived if you have any type of 10% disability or more with the VA.
Yep.
And there's no mortgage insurance. I mean, it's just a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also with Platinum MVP Realty, our real estate brokers, what we're going to do for any veterans out there, we're going to give a rebate back at closing back to the veterans out of the real estate commissions, because my dad was an MP. A lot of my family members and a lot of us in this room right now were connected with the military at one point, and that's one thing that we're going to do. We're going to give back, anywhere from a 1/4 point to a 1/2 point rebated back to your commission to your closing costs at closing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important that people realize, that without the veterans, we wouldn't even be here, today. And what they do for us right now, active duty people that are now here in MacDill that want to get purchase a new home. Integrity is the same way. We give no lender fees whatsoever. We give back to veterans 100%. So 0 lender fees for any VA loan out there for any veteran.
Yep. And that's a great opportunity. So what we want to do, again, we want to have an action call here. We want to provide you an opportunity to take action. You know, one of my mentors, Anthony Robbins, he talks about never leave the sight of setting a goal without taking some small action step towards that goal. So it might be scheduling a phone call, scheduling a meeting, buying that book, downloading an audio book. And start putting something positive out there, and it's going to come back to you. So what we want to do is for the first 5 listeners, what we're going to do is a free value offer. We're going to let you know what the value of your home is, and that could potentially be for refinance purposes with Mark and Tony. It could potentially be to maybe sell your home. Obviously, I'm a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay, over 50 current listings, featured in Florida Realtor Magazine twice in the last 2 years. Tampa Bay Business Journal, and others. But ultimately, what you want to do is take control of your situation. So what we're going to do is we're going to waive the $500 fee on this offer for the first 5 listeners who text in. We're going to give you a free comparable market analysis on your property. For the first 5 listeners who text in, text the word value to 813-917-1894. Text value now, and you're going to get a free comparable market analysis on your home. Basically the same thing you pay $500 for an appraisal, for free. Compliments of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty, and Crushcraft Marketing. Text value to 813-917-1894. All-star lineup, Intelligent Talk Radio here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about this story. Interesting story in the news. NBA All-Star Kevin Durant selling Lux Miami condo in Miami for $3.5 million. That and more from our experts when we come back. RealEstateRadioTampa.com. All right, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Real Estate Quarterback Show, Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate. Now, I want you to think of this show as the hub of your financial wheel, and each spoke extending out is going to represent another one of our preferred partners. We've got over 45 show partners now, ranging from CPAs, financial advisors, no matter what you need. I don't want you making a move in real estate without contacting us first. Anything real estate business related, we're going to be the connector for you. We're a super connector, and we're going to help you avoid all that bad information, all that bad advice, and commission-based advice is what I call it. And so, Real Estate Quarterback Show, RealEstateRadioTampa.com. And I want to welcome in my next guest. Now, he's an expert contributor. This is William Crawley. He's the president of National Credit Restoration Assistance. And so welcome into the studio, William, making your debut on the Real Estate Quarterback Show.
Yeah, I'm here with my debut. Hey, how's it going? It's good to be here. I love the discussions that we've had earlier with Mark. And one thing I want to say is that it's an exciting industry in the credit industry as well, the credit repair industry. There's so many people out there with bad credit. Makes me just, I don't know, it gets me so excited. But nevertheless, what's most important about it is that people can overcome these obstacles rather simply by understanding and utilizing some of the laws of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act, and even certain aspects of the Uniform Commercial Code. So, I mean, I don't want to bore people out there. I know people will probably say all this technical jargon and everything, but, I mean, I try to make it as humorous as possible, but yet and still it's a serious situation. Right. I know that people have said in the past, don't worry about credit. I heard Mark say it earlier, but I know that's in a different scenario or a different setting. Everybody should worry about their credit, whether they can get a loan or not. If you have negative issues out there on your credit, address this information, okay? Because at some juncture, it can come back to haunt you. So address it. Even though you can consolidate a loan now, get a loan, still address these issues.
And on that point, that kind of brings us back around with Mark with something we talk about a lot is a lot of times we get these buyer calls all the time. Jason is in studio as well. And, we get these buyer calls and they're like, they want to put off that part of financing and getting that pre-approval and pulling their credit. But a lot of times, let's think about this. Just last year, we had credit breaches from J.P. Morgan, Target, Home Depot, P.F. Chang's, and there's probably 5 others I didn't think about here, but et cetera, right? So if something were to happen to your credit, how would you know about it? And then you're going to wait until it's 60 days until you're ready to move, your lease is up, and then all of a sudden you go and pull the credit, and then what do they find? They're going to find errors. They're going to find all these different problems. So Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, exactly. People be proactive. And you can check your credit report once a year in the state of Florida. Now, in Georgia, I understand it's twice a year. But let me give out these two websites that I strongly recommend.
Well, let's save that as a part of our package because that's what we're going to do. We want to engage you as a listener out there. And that's part of our package that we have to offer, which we're going to offer that later in this segment. So stay tuned for this free credit package that William's going to offer. But yeah, So, but you can elaborate on that process when you talk about pre-qualification. You talk about what are you seeing out there on credit reports?
I mean,
man?
most of the time, people don't even check their credit, and they wait to go to the lender, and then let the lender become a credit expert in explaining their credit when their job is to sell you the property. So I tell people, look at this stuff ahead of time. Look at this information ahead of time. Even, give me a call or whatever the case may be. Contact the station here, the number that's been given out.
Yep.
We can have people to become proactive, checking this information out prior to going to the lender. Don't waste the lender's time. The lender wants to sell you a property. So let's address these issues ahead of time.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've got a program that is similar to credit repair, but we like to say it's credit repair on steroids, National Credit Restoration Assistance. We're assisting people in cleaning up their credit and helping them to really understand the Fair Credit Reporting Act and how it benefits the consumer. I mean, there's a ton of information out there, and cut me off if I go too far.
No, good.
But nevertheless, there's a ton of information out there. But what most people don't know is that everything on their credit report is inaccurate, positive, negative, etc.
Yeah.
Because the Fair Credit Reporting Act of 1970 specifically states that the information has to be verified by the credit reporting agency. None of it's been verified.
Right.
Nobody out there has received a call from a credit reporting agency. And a lot of times people tell me they received a call from a credit reporting agency. I say, no, you're mistaken. That's a collection agency, not the credit reporting agency.
Right. It's a $5 billion a year industry.
Man, is it? It's crazy.
And they're not in business to protect us or to help us. What they want to do is they want to sell your information to insurance companies, mortgage, realtors, all these different companies, and they're not worried about the accuracy. So I'm gonna do a first here. Let's go ahead and do this credit offer, and then I bet you $100 that if we pull your credit and William cannot find at least one inaccuracy on it, I'm going to give you a $100 bill. I'm going to write you a check for $100, and I promise it's not going to bounce. We're gonna write you a check. But so for the first 5 listeners who want to reach out and take advantage of this offer, what we're going to do is we're going to give you a free credit package, compliments of William Crawley. And it's going to teach you how to, number one, opt out of pre-screening. Cut off all that junk mail coming to your mailbox that people come by and rob that junk mail. Then they know who you are, where you live, and then they just got to connect a couple other dots, and now your identity's stolen. So let's teach you how to opt out of pre-screening. And we're also going to reduce your chance of identity theft through that process. And if you want to sit down with William, he's a nice guy. He'll do a consultation with you as well. And we're going to teach you how to get that free credit report that he's talking about, how to actually get a free credit report. And here's a hint. It's not those guys jumping around like a bunch of idiots on those TV commercials and that are asking you for your credit report. And there's no back-end solicitation here. There's no drip campaign, no back-end solicitation, or any of those that you find with other places. So for the first 5 listeners, what we're going to do is we're going to offer this free credit package. We got to limit it to 5. So text the word credit to our Consumer Advocate hotline. That's 813-917-1894. And if we can't find inaccuracies on your credit report, I'm going to show you the money.
Show me the money!
Okay, so text the word credit to 813-917-1894. So that'll be interesting to see if we can find some inaccuracies on there. If not, $100 to you.
And let me just say, the biggest perpetrator, you had already mentioned it earlier, but let me reiterate this. The biggest perpetrator of identity theft is the credit reporting agencies themselves. People need to understand the importance of putting a promotional block on their credit report. And that'll be part of the package that you'll receive once you call in.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about when you talk about credit improvement, identity theft prevention, and recovery. Hey, listen, guys, we weren't taught it in school. There's no credit police. And so what happens when you get your identity theft stolen? What happens then? Where do you go? You go into the police office. What are they going to do? They may give you a couple pamphlets and hand out and say, hey, call this number, call this. But, hey, it's something that we want to help you, again, live a better life and engage us. And that's our goal. We want to give you back.
Okay, great. And so, and one thing I want to elaborate on as well is when you said if you are a victim of identity theft, just because you're a victim of identity theft doesn't mean the information comes off your credit report. That's why it's important for each consumer to know about that Fair Credit Reporting Act, to dispute the information, because we're going after information that does belong to you and, of course, that doesn't belong to you, but specifically the information that does belong to you, the bankruptcy, tax liens, judgments, foreclosures, inquiries, etc. Yep. This information we know is truthful information, but the credit reporting agencies have not properly verified this information prior to putting it on the credit report.
Therefore, it's on there improperly and pretty much illegally.
Right.
And I've also heard this in medical. I heard a story from a gentleman, a friend of mine in California. His wife went in to do a medical procedure, and they had the wrong credit profile attached to the file or medical history as well. and somehow that whole thing got botched and ended up causing a big time delay. Can you imagine going in for a surgery that you need, and then all of a sudden they pull credit or whatever might happen with that process? Man.
And even when you're dealing with the medical institutions, the HIPAA laws come into effect as well. They're not supposed to release that information to a third party without your consent.
So that may be where it's at then. So they're like, well, prove to me that who you say you are, because this document here shows
exactly
that might be it. But
I mean, I could talk on and on and on, but I know you don't.
Let's
want
save some for the next segment here. All right. So, hey, when we come back, you're listening to Real Estate Quarterback Show. But when we come back, we're going to talk about NBA All-Star Kevin Durant selling his Lux Miami condo for $3.5 million. Let's talk a little bit about that and more from our experts in studio. RealEstateRadioTampa.com. All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Real Estate Quarterback Show, Intelligent Talk Radio. I've got some intelligent folks in studio with me, and a lot of great conversations go on between the breaks, man. I tell you, a lot of great content here between the breaks, but we want to introduce you to our platform here. If you haven't seen us, it's the Real Estate Quarterback Show. We've got a TV show now streaming as well, and making some moves here in Tampa Bay. We're helping a lot of people, and ultimately that's the number one thing is that we have this pay-it-forward model with all of our businesses. Homestrong USA is another example where we give away a mortgage-free property to a veteran, active military, or first responder for every home that we sell nationwide through that program. Homestrong USA, again, shots out to our troops. And let's jump back into this great content. I got a couple of hot listings, actually, I want to touch on. I've got 5506 Beeman Dew Loop in Land Lakes. This is a 4-bedroom, 5 and 1/2 bath property, $1.275 million that we just reduced this property. It's custom-built high-end home situated on gorgeous Lake Thomas in a private gated community, and that's 5506 Beeman Dew Loop. I got a pocket listing here. First time I've done this, I'm going to pitch this pocket listing. It's in the beautiful community of Water Chase. Right there in just the heart of kind of like the West Chase area. Beautiful, a little bit on the north side of Tampa Bay, but I got a pocket listing in there. I just locked this deal down yesterday, and if you have potential buyers in that area or you want to be in that area, you got to call me. I got a great deal in that property of Water Chase, and we also have 219 18th Avenue, and this is Indian Rocks Beach, 2-bedroom, 2-bath townhome property. It's $570,000. Bring your boat to this boater's paradise. Key West style townhouse featuring a 22-foot wide dock with the ability to moor up to a 65-foot vessel. And it's literally a 2-minute walk to the beach. Cross Gulf Boulevard, you're on the beach. And there's an awesome sky deck at the top of that. That's one of my favorite listings. It's got a nice sky deck at the top, and you can just see for miles. Gorgeous sunsets at this property. And so you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes here. I'm a top agent in Tampa Bay, over 50 current listings, and featured in Florida Realtor Magazine, other magazines as well. And we're doing some big things here in Tampa. I'm bringing a lot of experts on the air with me. And, again, I've got 2 intelligent folks here in studio for our program today. I've got Mark Spence, Integrity Financial Services. He's the vice president over there. I've got William Crowley as well. He's our credit expert in studio here with National Credit Restoration Assistance, Credit Improvement. And Jason Salmon, he's our expert buyer agent in studio, as well as VP of Marketing with Crushcraft Marketing, kind of a division of the Real Estate Quarterback Show conglomerate of companies. And Jason, let's start out. Let's go ahead and do that Ask the QB segment. I love that segment.
So we're back with another segment of the Ask the Real Estate Quarterback Show. This is brought to you by Platinum MVP Realty. And I think actually these questions are going to be great questions for our expert contributors today. I think they kind of fall on your guys' expertise, and so in turn, I think we'll get some great content. Our first question today is actually going to come from James from Facebook. And that question is, 15-year, 30-year mortgages, which one is best?
Yeah, and there's a lot of variables there. So when we talk about that, and ultimately there's a couple places where this conversation is going to go. I'm going to let Mark elaborate a little bit about a biweekly payment program. And what I would say as, if you're looking at getting into a home mortgage, you might be able to get a little bit better rate on a 15. Now, the 30 is going to be a better, safer play in terms of not committing to too much overhead per month. Say, should something happen, some medical issue come up, the car breaks down, whatever that happens, depending on your emergency fund. Dave Ramsey talks about, you got to have that emergency fund in place just in case something happens. But yeah, 15-year, and you put it on a biweekly payment program. Now that's a winning game plan, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is very true, and we see that a lot with our clients and, debating on, well, they see a lower interest rate with a 15-year term versus a higher rate with a 30-year, but you're usually talking about a 1-point difference in interest rate. So in theory, it's not as much as you would see maybe if you thought about a difference. That's a big difference in term. But the big thing that I would tell you that people don't realize is 30-year fixed mortgages are meant to get people into a home. They're not meant to be paid off.
Right.
There's so much back-end interest on a 30-year fixed mortgage, 3 times the amount that there would be on a 15-year fixed mortgage.
Right.
But the difference is that you kind of control, if you take a 30-year fixed mortgage, you never have to worry about your payment changing. You've got a fixed rate. But you have the ability to say, I do have extra income or I have disposable income and I would like to pay down my mortgage quicker than the normal 30-year and eliminate a lot of that interest that is on the back of that loan. And by making one extra payment a year, you can pay it, annually, you can pay it monthly, however you want to do it. But just one extra principal and interest payment a year is going to take your loan down from 30 to about 22 years. So if you did that twice, just 2 extra payments, 2 to 3 a year, you'd be at a 15-year fixed mortgage anyway.
Great point. Great point. And the word, it's interesting. I always think about this when we talk about amortization. Amortization. That word is derived from the Latin, and it says to die slow. Is the name to die slow. And then something else I was thinking of is when we were speaking there, Mark, is that back in the day I was an Argent I worked as an account executive for Argent Mortgage. There was New Century, Long Beach Savings and Loans, all these subprime. And I remember towards the end there was a 50-year mortgage that was coming out.
Right.
50-year mortgage. There was a 40-year mortgage, and then they were even talking about a 50.
We actually originated a few 50-year mortgages back in 2005.
Shame on you.
Yeah, there was not. It was because, again, they looked at it as they wanted to get people into homes.
It's an instrument.
It is. It's just getting someone into it to allow them to be able to take advantage of buying a house. But
it's a financial instrument.
But there's just so much interest on these types of loans that people just need to look at their options. A 20-year fixed term really is a nice segue if you felt like you could afford that and didn't feel comfortable.
There you go.
You didn't have to worry about the future of something coming up and hindering your monthly payment.
Right. That's a nice fine line in the middle there. Let's go back to the REQB question here. Let's see what Jason Salmon has for us.
Yeah, so we got another question today from Timothy via email, and he wanted to know, if I have the ability, should I pay off my mortgage early?
Okay, interesting question. Again, depends. There's a lot of variables there. Ultimately, the first thing pops in my mind is you're limiting your options in terms of tax write-offs. Key Skane, American Dream, CPA. There are guys in terms of tax write-offs and helping me with my personal plans. And it's more about a plan, so you got to take a look at all these as an overall comprehensive plan. But yeah, to pay your mortgage off or not to pay your mortgage off, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that really depends on the specific situation of that specific person's overall financial situation.
Right.
I mean, in theory, if you have no mortgage payment, obviously you're going to be able to build wealth a different way and save it and invest it and do other things with it. But you don't have an interest write-off. That really is the only write-off you have these days with the IRS. So that interest deduction is a big thing.
Yeah.
But, if you look at where money is today and money being so cheap,
right,
I don't really believe today, and this is my opinion, that you would want to pay off your mortgage. Take advantage of cheap money today and invest it other ways and be able to build wealth and take advantage of the cheap money.
Right.
But that would be, again, based on a specific situation of a person meeting with their CPA and their financial advisor to really understand their overall profile.
Yeah, you want to look at cost of funds, and you want to look at the time value of money. Going back to the old finance classes, the time value of money. And it's amazing what Excel spreadsheets can do for you in those situations. But, great point. Yeah. Let's get that credit question in for William here.
Yeah.
So before that credit question, though, let me just expound on that. I know he said that the 15 versus 30. My biggest advantage to that would be is as long as they keep their payments on time. That's the main thing for me. Okay,
right,
keep the payments on time, whether you do it 15 or 30 years. Okay, just want to chime in on that before you pose that question.
Sure. And I think this one's going to be right up your alley, William. Mm-hmm. But we have Franklin via Facebook who wanted to know. If I need to improve my credit, what's kind of the first step I'm going to take to do that?
Right. And I believe one of the first steps to do is when you call in, you're going to get this packet. It's going to tell you to check your credit report. Everybody should check their credit report. It's free. Check it at least once a year. And then, of course, in the state of Georgia, it's twice a year. But I think in Florida, it's once a year. Check it. And so call in on that and get that in the packet.
Yep.
Check that credit, and then once you check it and you see the blemishes on there, and I promise you there will be blemishes on there because everything on that credit report is inaccurate. But what we want to focus on is the negative information, of course, inquiries, late payments, charge-offs, collection, etc., and then attack that information using the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
No,
Change it. Go ahead, Jay.
I think that's a great point, William. I really think, I'm even learning some things today, from William on credit, and I'll be making sure I'll give him a call as well.
Great.
Yeah, and let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about down payment assistance. I get this question sometimes as well. And when we talk about down payment assistance, I think it's more geared towards the municipalities, what they have to offer, and you have an income qualification level that you need to meet. And of course, and it's a great story here. I mean, this is literally a story that I did for a family member, David, down in South Florida. He was a first time buyer. We were able to allocate. I was able to get him $25,000 from one source and $20,000 from another source, and that's $45,000 of free down payment assistance money that you do not have to pay back. Now it's structured as a second lien on the property, so if you do vacate the property or if you sell the home, then you don't have an opportunity to realize that you have to pay that back. But down payment assistance programs, let's swing that over to Mark.
Yeah, I mean, down payment assistance programs, they're really depending on, the area that it's located, the county that the property is located in or the specific city. They do have down payment assistance programs that borrowers, first-time home buyers can qualify for. It is something that, you should look at if you feel like you don't have any ability to put down even 3% or getting a gift for 3.5% or 3% because gift funds are 100% allowed.
Great point. Gift points are allowed on all FHA, VA, everything?
Yeah,
conventional?
and even unconventional.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and so that's, again, where you show loosening of the products and trying to do what they can to get first-time home buyers into homes today under normal conventional programs even. But, the other thing you have to look at is down payment assistance programs, they have to go through the borrower has to go through their own qualifying specific separate with that specific municipality in regards to whatever their down payment assistance program is. So not everyone will qualify for their guidelines. They're very strict in some cases in regards to income that the family can have as a household income, or even debt to income ratio for what they, debt wise, what do they have? But it is something that we can help with, and we'll be glad to, we always research them for our clients and give them lists of the down payment assistance programs. So if they want to take advantage of it and look into it, they can.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and get this in here. NBA All-Star Kevin Durant selling Lux Miami condo for $3.5 million. The Oklahoma City Thunder All-Star Kevin Durant put his condo up for sale reportedly the same day. Underwent bone graft surgery on his right foot. 3 bedrooms, 4.5 bath, a view of downtown Miami because the condo is located in the 4th tallest building in Miami, 900 Biscay Bay. And Durant's future has been a long, hot topic in the NBA, trying to see where he's going to go.
Yeah, and I would just like to reach out to Kevin Durant and say I'd be happy to find him his home in Oklahoma City.
There you go.
I'm completely okay with that.
And if you have any credit issues, I'll address that.
There you go. And so we got when we come up in the next break, we're going to talk also next segment about Build. There's a bill that would stop feds from mandating backdoor to data. Very interesting. A lot of stuff going on with NSA, Edward Snowden. I saw that on HBO, where they went to his hotel room. But you're listening to Intelligent Talk Radio, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Real Estate Radio Tampa.com. All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Real Estate Quarterback Show. This segment brought to you by Freedom Boat Club, the official recreation partner of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Go say hello to Mike Craig over at Freedom Boat Club right here in South Tampa. There's 13 locations throughout Tampa Bay. I just went to a social over in Tarpon this week at their location over there. Great social, but a great group. And I tell you, the what's the joke? The best day and the 2 best days of a boater's life is when they buy it and when they sell it, right? Freedom Boat Club is the way to go. You show up, you bring your cooler, you bring your towels, and you're off on the boat for the day. You come back. Let's say you went out fishing and the boat's all dirty and you fish stuff in the bottom. You don't have to clean it. You tip the guy and you walk on. You keep going. So you tip the captain and you keep going. So Mike Craig, Freedom Boat Club, tell them the Real Estate Quarterback Show sent you. for special incentives. And also Hula Bay is our official restaurant partner. We're getting ready to head over to lunch now in our limousine provided by Tampa Limo and Car, Roberto Gonzalez. And also we're going over to Hula Bay. It's our official restaurant partner. And going to have a great meal on the waterfront down there. It's located just south of Gandy Boulevard and just south on West Shore. Make a right on Tyson, the best kept secret in Tampa Bay. So let's touch on a couple of hot listings before we jump back into this great content. We've got 3231 Pine View Drive in Holiday. Now, this is a 5-bedrooms, 3-bath property, $475,000. Another waterfront beautiful home I have listed in Holiday, Florida, in the Bailey Bluff Estates. Also got 4704 Ashton Court in Tampa. This is a nice Carrollwood property in the Stonehenge subdivision. Pride of ownership definitely comes through in this home, listed at $230,000. And I've got a 27-acre ranch in the heart of Tampa. Now, this ranch opportunity, it's a great opportunity for developers, for builders. Maybe you want to build a nice home in the middle of Tampa with close proximity to all the shopping. It's literally 3 minutes south of the Citrus Park Mall, and it's in the Carrollwood area, the Citrus Park area. 27-acre ranch for sale, 10 acres at $49,900 per acre. The next 10 acres jumped up to $99,900 per acre. And then there's another 7.5 acres as well. Set up currently as a ranch, youth ranch. The seller has operated as a ranch with horses and things like that. It's got a beautiful creek that runs through it. But reach out to the Real Estate Quarterback Show for this or any of your of our other listings. And there are multiple ways to reach out. Okay, we got realestateradiotampa.com as our website. You see video with Tampa Mayor Bob Buckhorn on our show. Warwick Dunn representing Warwick Dunn Charities. You can also reach our consumer advocate hotline. That's at our 813-917-1894. And also check out this technology. It's a Savvy card. All you have to do is text the letters RE like real estate, QB like quarterback. Text REQB to 72889. It's a short code. So in the to line, you put 72889, where you'd put the phone number of the person you're texting. And then in the content of the message, text REQB, and you're going to see all my listings, all of my links to all my partners, my experts in studio today. You're going to see their Savvy card. It's going to come up right on your smartphone, and you see all these listings, all my other listings that we're talking about here today. So let's jump back into this. We've got some Intelligent Talk Radio, and let's talk a little bit about a little bit out of the scope of mortgages and credit, but it's very relevant to what we're talking about in terms of general things happening in the United States here. We've got Aaron Kelly from the USA Today. It says there's a bill that would stop the feds from mandating this backdoor to data. So there's a bipartisan group of lawmakers that's set to push for legislation that would bar federal agents from forcing technology companies to give them access to customers' emails, texts, and photos. And so I'm all for this. I'll tell you, it's the Surveillance State Repeal Act, which includes a provision that the federal government cannot require electronics or software manufacturers to build in a mechanism to allow the government to bypass privacy technology. So, yeah, unbelievable what's happening. And we saw the Edward Snowden, and there's the mainstream media is going to try to paint him to be this traitor, and he's giving up all these things. But what he is, I think, a patriot. He's telling us as American people, hey, your government is intruding. Your government is overreaching in certain areas. And, the Patriot Act started when we had this war and, what's going on. So we could go on a rabbit trail there, but let's not. Let's just stick to what we're doing with the Real Estate Quarterback Show. And somebody want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, so just speaking about that, just for a minute, going down the rabbit hole is, you mentioned that they classify Edward Snowden as a terrorist. What's interesting is when you think back to, when our country started, the Founding Fathers, by definition, the Founding Fathers were terrorists. They fought against their current government, which was King Edward or whoever the King of England was at the time. King George. So they rebelled against him, and they overthrew that government that was on top of him. So by classification, the Founding Fathers were terrorists based on definition. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that actively, but no. Yeah. And then the other thing on the same subject is that all these backdoor searches that they're doing through these software companies, manufacturers, is they're doing it illegally. They're doing it with no warrant, no court order, and it's all based on Patriot Act nonsense. They could classify anyone as a terrorist and then go look at whatever you're doing just because they called you a terrorist.
And they can hold you,
they can prove anything. And they can hold you, with no warrant. They don't have to tell anyone under the NDAA.
Yep.
Yeah, so
unbelievable. So,
it's a violation of the Constitution as well.
Exactly. I agree.
So we should definitely be aware of that.
Time for us as a people to get engaged. That's the thing that happens is people, we're so caught up today with our social media. with these reality TV shows, wasting time on some of this stuff. And that's why this show's different. We want to help you engage. We want to provide you the timely truths centered around real estate, credit, finance, credit improvement. And so let's go ahead and jump into our lightning round. All right, so we're going to go here. We're going to go consumer advocate tips, things to do, things to avoid. Mark Spence, VP of Integrity Financial Services, you're up.
I would definitely say if you're a first-time home buyer or someone that's already purchased property in the past, are you looking to purchase a new home today or a second home maybe here in beautiful Florida?
Absolutely.
Take advantage of it today. Take advantage of these low historic rates. They're not going to be here forever. And get into this, finance low, cheap money. I mean, just the cheap money is just unbelievable. And the buying power is great. And it's a seller's market. So get in now. Get in with the appreciation of the values going up here in Tampa Bay. Everybody wants to be in Tampa. There's
Absolutely.
no doubt about that. So that's what I would say. And I tell everyone, and if you are looking to get pre-approved, start the process early.
That's
right.
right.
We can look at your credit. We can evaluate if there's any issues, anything we need to take advantage. A big thing we see all the time is disputes on people's credit.
Yep.
You can't purchase a house if there's disputes active on your current credit report.
Right.
Those are things that take time to get off. So it's just things like that we can help and, add value in those ways to get you through the process.
Tampa Bay, St. Pete, Clearwater, the greatest place in the United States to live.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right, next up, we got William Crawley. What is your consumer advocate tip? He's the president of National Credit Restoration Assistance.
I want to speak to the lenders out there in specific because a lot of times these people come in, their credit is bad, but that just doesn't necessarily mean they're bad people. They just ran into some type of financial obstacles in their way. So what I'm here to do is to help them to overcome those obstacles, address this information in a legal format, and have this information removed. Now, of course, we want people to be proactive so that when you go to the lender, you won't have to address this type of information because it will already be off the credit report and there won't be any type of disputes in there pending that's going to inhibit the loan. So proactive. Get on top of this stuff now. And remember, lenders, these people, just because they have negative issues on their credit report doesn't mean they're bad people. And plus, it's helping your bottom line because you're making a sale.
That's right. Hey, that's been the theme of this show, is to be proactive, to reach out. And I want to recap. I want to thank everyone for coming in studio, all the folks helping out behind the scenes, all of our team, our interns that help us put this show together. And I want to remind you that we have a couple of offers out there. We'll go ahead and repeat those offers. If you want to get a credit package or you want to get a value on your home, let's go ahead and do that. And Mark, real quick, let's get your offer in as well.
Yeah, for the first 3 callers, we'd give you $1,000 lender credit back towards closing costs for any purchase or refinance. If you're, so definitely call in and we'll be glad to help you.
Wow, thanks for doing that. I appreciate you taking care of our listeners. So we're offering a credit package if you want to learn how to opt out of pre-screening, cut off the junk mail, get the free credit report, and have an opportunity to sit down with our credit expert. Mark's offering that package as well. It's $1,000 lender credit for the first 3 listeners. And then also if you want to do a free CMA, comparable market analysis, so text in to our consumer advocate hotline. It's at 813-917-1894. Now, if you're not a texter, you can call, leave a voicemail, and we'll definitely respond as well. And realestateradio.tampa.com is the site you want to bookmark. Save that site as a favorite on your computer or your phone. And another great episode here, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty, Crushcraft Marketing, also represented Integrity Financial Services, and we've got William Crawley as well, National Credit Restoration Assistance. Thanks so much. Tune in next week. We'll see you here.